Have you ever gone out with a guy and you were massively attracted to him? You seemed to click with one another. You just really liked each other, but you weren't sure if he was really a high value guy or he was a good long-term fit for you. And the reality is it can be really hard to see through what I call the fog of love. Is when you're so into someone and you're just like all these incredible love chemicals are flowing through your body and you really like the person. But again, it's like, are we really going to work well with one another? And I find that that's a huge part of my job as a dating coach, helping so many of you beautiful ladies attract love. I try to be kind of your big brother and looking out for you and being like, hey, is this guy really a high value man that you should really spend your time with? Or maybe should we look at some of these things and say next and move on to the next? So in this video right now, I'm going to be sharing with you 7 signs that a man is a high value man. And if he has these signs, lean in. And if he doesn't, start running for the hills. Keep watching. Hey there, my name is Adam Lidolce from lovestrategies.com, where I help successful single women get out there and attract long-lasting love and do it with a strategy. And if you're watching this video, you are a high-value woman. So you know what? Let's set you up with a high-value man. Here are the signs you found him. Number 7 is that he values your personality, not just your looks. Low-value guys go out and are only looking for one thing. They're looking for short-term flings, and they're only looking for physical looks, because that's the only thing that's actually going to meet their needs. Whereas high value men who are at a stage in their life where they're really looking for something real, they're looking for something longer term, they're not hyper focused on looks as being the sole part of it. Obviously that's going to be a component, but someone's personality is going to matter a lot more. Especially as guys get older and they've dated around, or that maybe they've been married, they are a lot more realistic about the type of person they want to spend their life with. And they get a lot less hyper focused on someone's looks and much more interested in being with a woman who has a great personality, who's fun to be around, who radiates an incredible personality, who has a fun sense of humor, who likes to do things. All of these things matter much more to that high value man rather than just physical appearance. Number 6 is that a high value man will respect your opinion even if he disagrees with you. There's always this fun moment that happens in a new relationship where you kind of have your first big fight, where you find out, oh my God, maybe we don't actually agree on every single thing about this world and how it comes together, right? And there's this moment where you might have an argument with one another, and either he'll be very disrespectful to you, he'll talk down to you, or he'll just respect your opinion, but maybe even disagree with you and be open about that. And that's a healthy way of having a disagreement. You don't have to agree on everything in a relationship. It's impossible that that will ever happen. Instead, can you have any type of conflict and have it happen respectfully and in a way that isn't toxic? Number 5 is that he's not going to be very needy because he's going to have a life outside of the relationship. High value men are going to have an active professional life. They're going to obviously have a job that they are engaged in, but they're also going to have an active social life. They're going to have other people they're going to want to spend time with. They're going to have familial obligations. They might even have kids that they want to spend time with. They're going to have a life outside of the relationship. And I find that can be challenging for a lot of women when they find themselves in a new relationship with a high value guy that has a lot going on. It can be really difficult to kind of swallow that pill and say, you know what? I got to allow this guy to have space. He's a high value man, so he's got a lot of stuff going on. So what does that mean? If you find yourself in a relationship with a high value man who has a lot of different obligations, a lot of things going on in his life, then it's important for you to also be thinking about what your life is like outside of the relationship. Continue engaging with your friends, continue engaging professionally, or whatever it is, your passions, your interests, whatever it is that you want to spend your time doing, continue to lean into those things, because ultimately no man wants to have a life with you unless you have an incredible life without him. Maintain that life outside of the relationship. Don't forget it. Number 4 is that he's not going to play any childish games, and he's going to be clear about what he wants when it comes to commitment. Now, I'm not saying on the first date he's going to want to say he wants to commit to you, because that wouldn't be frankly very healthy, because you haven't really gotten to know each other yet. But let's say you've been going out for a month, maybe even 2 months, and you're getting to that stage where commitment is on the table. This is not going to be the type of guy who's saying things such as, you know, I'm not really ready for a relationship, but I want to just kind of keep it casual. He's not going to be playing weird games where he's texting you and then he's disappearing for 6-7 days and beyond. He's going to be pretty consistent. And that is ultimately what we're looking for when it comes to a high value person. Valuable relationships are consistent relationships. Valuable relationships aren't full of games. They're full of people who are just straightforward with us, straight shooters. So when you find yourself in a relationship with a high value guy just like that, lean into that. Don't be afraid of it. And I don't want to play any games with you. I'm going to be straightforward. Can you give this video a like and don't forget to subscribe because we got a lot of great content coming your way. Number 3 is that he presents himself well. If he really is a high value man who surrounds himself with high value people, he's going to know how to dress to impress. He's going to know how to show up with the right type of energy, and he's going to know how to take a woman out and be in those types of high value environments. I had a client the other day, actually, she's a super high value woman who was going out on a date. Like, this is like her 4th date with a guy who was a total schlep. Like, he didn't have any decent clothing. All of his jeans were completely ripped, and not like the good like diesel jeans way. In like these jeans are about 10 years old type ripped jeans. And she was trying to justify why he was maybe a good fit for her. And maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. But ultimately, he wasn't on her level. Like, all the things she was saying, even aside from his appearance, he just wasn't on her level. He barely had a job. He was not really even that interesting, according to her, to be around. And he didn't present himself well. So, like, what are we doing, people? Number 2 is that he'll give you emotional support when you need it, but he'll also call you out on your BS when you need it. Personally, I like to surround myself around people who will call me out on my own BS, okay? When I'm saying something that needs to be rethought, or I'm just like looking at a situation the wrong way, I want people who will call me out. I also want people who support me emotionally. You want to have both. And I think being in a high value relationship with a high value man in your situation requires being with a guy who's willing to speak up. He's willing to have a disagreement with you. He's willing to call you out if perhaps you're looking at a situation the wrong way. I think personally, that's like one of the things of many that I was just massively attracted to in Jessica, because she always calls me out on my BS, even still to this day. And I really appreciate it. You always kind of know where you stand with it. And it's really helpful for me when I'm just looking at situations the wrong way. I've personally gone out with women who are like, kind of like yes women. They just like everything I would say, they would just kind of go along with and be like, yes, 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 you're so right. Oh my God, you're so right. And you're like, I don't know. It's not really adding much value to this conversation. Instead, look for people who do challenge you in the right way. And yeah, that's what a real healthy relationship ultimately is made of. And finally, the number 1 sign that you're dating a high value man is that the relationship will just feel uncomplicated. If everything about the relationship just feels complicated, then it's likely he's not a high value man for you. When you meet the right person you start dating, typically when it's the right person, it's easy, right? It should just kind of flow. You're just on the same page. You know where he stands. You're not unsure of what's going on in his life. And instead, like, a low value guy is going to be still in the middle of getting a divorce. He's still going to be talking about his other ex. He's going to be still transitioning jobs. He's going to be living 3 hours away. Like, all these complications are going to always exist in his life. And if you found that you've been dating a guy for 3, 6 months, even a year, and it's just always complicated, then it's time to look at the situation for what it is. He's probably a low value guy, or the relationship is just not right for you guys. And be open about that with yourself so that you can leave room for the right type of high value man in your life. So I want to hear from you in the comments below. Have you ever stayed in a complicated relationship for just way too long and found that you wasted all of your time? And if you're finally ready to attract that high value man and create that incredible relationship that lasts the rest of your life, head on over to lovestrategies.com, because we have a step-by-step interactive training that's going to help you create your strategy so you can know exactly where to go to meet this guy, what to say, and how to build that connection that lasts forever. Speak to you very soon. Bye-bye.